job to get by. Or maybe you already are a full-time musician, but you find yourself...
My name is Ronnie Shellist. I want to talk to you just for a second about what to do when you get your first harmonica. So, first thing I did when I got my harmonica out of the box...
Here we go.
Little blues for you on a C harmonica. That's second position.
We'll wait for you too, man.
My name is Ronnie Shellist. If this is the first time you're tuning into one of my videos, I want to introduce myself, let you know what I do. I teach harmonica full-time, and I'm also a full-time musician. Because that makes me part-time teacher,
I'm a quest to learning the ultimate
musician.
harmonica tune.
I split my time in those two areas, and I spend pretty much every week, every day,
that's how it used to sound,
on the internet, on Skype or FaceTime with students all around the world, working on harmonica and working on their skills and their goals. A lot of it is blues focused. So I've comprised this list today. This will be a longer video. And these are basically some of the most common things that come up when I work with students. So I just want to help you troubleshoot quickly, give you one or two things to chew on based on these topics on each one, instead of just trying to overload you with a whole bunch of content and things to think about on each one. Give you my top things. So the first one is controlling your breathing and getting good tone. There could be it's arguably the most important thing you need to figure out on the instrument is how to control your breathing. That's my opinion. Breathing influences your ability to keep good timing and rhythm. It influences the tone that you get out of your instrument. It is heavily influencing your ability to easily get a technique or struggle for years with a technique, like bending. Yes, your airflow. It's not just tongue position for bending. So how can you work on it? Just keep in mind, I know everyone talks, or a lot of people talk about diaphragmatic breathing. I talk about it as well. I'll tell you this, all of my breathing sounds like this when I'm inhaling through the harmonica. I'm breathing in. It sounds like this deep guttural breath, which is exactly what that is from the diaphragm. Get your hand on your belly button. Make sure when you breathe in slowly, you can feel your stomach pushing out. That's how you know you're engaging in. Look for telltale signs like the shoulders moving when you're playing. All this kind of stuff is unnecessary. It means that you're engaging your chest more than you need to. So get your breathing regulated, even, and from way down in your diaphragm. You'll have a much more enjoyable time playing this instrument if you do that. Number two, consistently hitting accurate and clean notes. Well, that's arguably the second most important or first most important thing you could learn on the harmonica, because it's not just a rhythm instrument, it's a melodic instrument. You want to be able to play songs on it, so you want to hit these single notes or play riffs. There's a lot of people that are very forgiving, I guess, of themselves in that manner. They don't really pay attention to whether those notes are super clean or not. Only time you should be getting a dirty note, which is two notes at once, a double stop, is if it's intentional. There are times when it sounds really good to play that. Awesome, play it. But surrounded by clean notes too. If the majority of your stuff is dirty and it's not intentional, then there's something really wrong with your playing. How do you work on getting a good, clean single note? As a pucker player, I would recommend a really distinct, tight embouchure in this pucker fashion. 3-blow. Stick it pretty far, the harmonica, into your lips. Don't play on the edge. You'll get that sound and wonder why you can't get a single note. So keep there's a little bit of tension that you create in this shape. Keep that shape, but push it into the pucker. And once you isolate one, don't adjust that. Try sliding around with the harmonica in your mouth. Play some simple scales. To challenge yourself, go a little bit faster. When you hit a speed where you trip up, go back to that speed before. So make sure you're getting clean single notes. It's extremely important. And if you don't know how to figure that out, whether you're getting them. Start recording your practice sessions, and you'll know right away. Putting licks into action can be really tough. You learn all these great blues licks by listening to your blues harmonica collection, your CDs that have great blues harp on it, where you take some lessons and you learn these riffs, but you're not able to get them coming out in your actual playing when it's time to play. They're not fitting right. You might have to my best advice to you is start with simple ideas first and work on fitting them into various types of styles of blues. That these different grooves that you find on the jam tracks are a prime way to work through this. Take a slow blues, take a standard shuffle, let's say, and maybe grab yourself something totally different, a swing, a rumba, something that's going to force you to change the way the phrasing lays out, the way in which we leave space between our notes to get this riff or phrase to sound appropriate. For the sake of time, it might be challenging for me to give you a bunch of examples here, but a riff that starts like, if it's a standard shuffle, and you're just going. On a slow blues, it might have to become. Not only am I changing the tempo and slowing it down, but the spacing between the notes also changes. There's longer periods of rest between these notes. And on a swing, you might have to, not only speed it up, but adjust some of the timing. That's a longer conversation, but work with various jam tracks, smaller ideas, simple ideas at first. When to play and not to play. If you're unsure, don't play. In the beginning, maybe leave the vocals alone. Don't try to play while the singer is singing. That's a good tip to give you. And when you're going to work on taking a fill, which would be the parts where you're in between the vocal lines and you're trying to get a riff in there, just listen the first couple times first at how the singer is phrasing their lines so that you don't accidentally step on it, come in too early and they weren't done with their line, and now you've kind of like, it throws you for the whole song too if you step on somebody's vocals. So wait for that break and then come in a little later, and then maybe get out quicker so that you can hear when they come back in. And as you get really good at that, you can time it closer and closer to coming in right after the phrase is finished and right before the next one starts. Just build slowly to that with your fills. And when in doubt, again, don't play. It's okay to be silent. Just stand up there and groove to the music. All right. If you have no fresh ideas, you're stuck in this rut. There's two big things that come to mind. One is position playing. So maybe you're only using cross harmonica or second position, or you only dabble with the others, like first and third. Get better at, comfortable at playing multiple positions, different scale work, so that you have other creative ways to express yourself in the same song. That's one great way to get out of a rut. Just improve your work on other positions, like first and third position, for example. The other thing is just starting your ideas on a different hole, on a different note choice. So if you're always starting on the 4 draw, it's probably often going to lead you to the same place. That's no good. So my recommendation is to start on notes, the ones I hear come up that are not being used in the beginning of phrases often enough, are bent notes first, like 1 bend and 2 bend, or 2 double, or 3 draw, or 6, even 6 you can get away with, becomes a more of a passing note. So there's ways to introduce your ideas with different starting notes, which will lead you to different places. And now you're saying something different. Even if they lead to the same place, you started in a different place, so it becomes a different idea. Other choice notes would be 1 blow, 2 blow, and 5 blow, often ignored as starting notes in cross. I like those note choices a lot. All right, so you get the idea. They become more passing notes, but they work really well. What happens when you just can't get a hold of your bending, especially the 3 draw? It's your nemesis. You stay away from the note. You're staying away from the most important note, by the way, arguably on the diatonic harmonica. There's 3 beautiful bends. So you want all those notes. You want to be able to use them. You don't want to be scared of the hole. Make friends with the 3 draw and all of the bends that are contained in that hole. My biggest tip for you, again, these are just top tips that come to mind. Smaller movements of the tongue. Steady your airflow and make smaller movements in your tongue to get from a half to a full step. It's a little tiny movement. Most people make a big drastic change and go, and they're wondering where are all the other notes. You got to learn to really barely manipulate and move the tongue. That's my top advice for you. The rest is just, you're going to have to put the time in. Maybe you just haven't learned how to move across that hole because you've been so scared of it. Maybe just 4 draw, 3 draw with a little bend on it, and 2 draw get you there. And either the half step or the blue note on that 3 is always a nice note across. All right, so that's my top advice for getting around that 3 draw. Not getting around it, but working it to where it works with you. Holes 7 through 10 seem to be an area that a lot of players are avoiding. So if that resonates with you, let me just first say that often the reason you're avoiding those holes is because you don't like the sounds coming out of them. So how do you get a good sound out of the upper draw hole? Specifically, the draw notes can fight you, be squeaky, sound like they're freezing. No note. There's the note. So make sure the tongue is relaxed and flat. Finesse these notes with just a little bit of air from the diaphragm. You don't need to murder the high end. It doesn't withstand the same amount of air pressure as the low end of the harmonica. The blow notes will, but not the draw notes. Take it easy up there. Find a simple riff or lick that you can work in. A modified juke-esque riff like this will teach you a lot about how to move around the high end and cross harp. You should ear train that. That's 6 moving its way up to 9 below the other root 1 octave above. Root note, that is, in the scale. All right, breathing. I wrote down breathing in-out patterns in second position. What I mean by that is just kind of like we were talking about earlier, using more bent notes in your playing. Substitute your blow notes for bent notes and see what happens. Blow notes are great in cross harp when they're intentional and they're used on the right chord or as a passing note sometimes on other chords. And what happens is a lot of players just get caught going hee-haw. This is just in-out. Box breathing. In, out, move over a hole, in, out. That's not serving you well. That's not bluesy. At least in the world of blues, we want to go. We want to put some bends in there and use more draw notes than not. Work on your bends. That's the biggest thing. Turning your brain off while you play. You have a hard time doing this. This is a common issue that comes up. You're thinking through the music as you play. How do you turn that off? One way is to work on your breathing and get your mind settled and relaxed. Just slow in and out breathing where you get some sort of basic breathing meditation going so that your mind can settle. And when you play, try to just stay in the moment. Focus all your energy on what you're doing right there, the note you're holding. Shape that. Let your energy and your mind just gravitate towards, the feel of what you're doing and shaping the sound rather than what am I going to play next? How am I playing what I'm currently playing? What can I do to make it super musical? It's the best advice I can give you. And the last thing is playing in a relaxed, confident manner. Well, that kind of goes with what we just said. You've got to get your mind settled. You got to get your breathing relaxed. And how do you build confidence? You become vulnerable. So this is my last big tip to you. If you're not out playing with other musicians and feeling vulnerable, you're probably not pushing yourself enough and you're not going to grow as quickly as you want, and you may not evolve in the way that you had hoped. be vulnerable, get out there and play. On that note, those are my tips for really the top 10 issues I see that come up all the time with students when I work with people. I want to make a quick announcement that the Global Blues Harmonica Summit is happening August 12th. You can read all about it in the video description by heading to the link. It will be an online webinar-style event with David Barrett, Adam Gusso, Tomlin Leckie, and myself. We are going to be online hosting an all-day event centered around the topic improvisation. I'll be focused on grooves, so we'll be learning and many other types of grooves and how you can manipulate them once you learn them and start to become more of a free player. So you've got these built-in things you've been working on and learning, but you're going to learn how to basically break that down and change what you're already working with naturally, organically, so that it comes out as part of your solo. These grooves are where your solos grow out of. So I'm going to get into that a whole bunch. If you have interest in learning about it, again, head to the website, sign up for this event now. And I can't wait to see you guys at the summit. Check out Harmonica 123 for your resource of harmonica, blues-focused harmonica education, downloadable material. And if you ever want to get together for a Skype session, all you got to do is head to Harmonica 123 and contact me through the contact page. Thanks for tuning in.
Unlock your potential to create your next masterpiece. Buy art supplies in bulk and save at michaelspro.com.
All right, this is a little new lesson that I'm putting out there called Looping Riffs. This is similar to the Blues Licks series that I put out over the last several years. It's the same concept. It's a lesson basically on learning these riffs note for note, nuance for nuance, talking about kind of what goes into the behind the scenes when you play the riff, not just the notes, but the emphasis on certain parts, the rhythmic quality, so the syncopation, and obviously the phrasing and whatnot. I discuss all this in the Looping Riffs lesson, and that little riff right there that I played you is a perfect example of a more advanced riff perhaps in the lesson. And the idea is that you are working on a lot of things. When you work on a looping riff, not only is it a good musical idea, but I think one of the most beneficial parts of it is that you can chop up this musical idea later on. So you have the opportunity to learn a whole musical phrase and then grab a portion of it and then chop that and so on and so on. And so you're learning how to move around the harmonica musically in that position without really talking about the scale work, just learning some ideas. And it's great for breath control. This is the discovery that I've had later on, that it really kind of brought my breath and my breathing. It forced me to figure out just how much air I really needed on the inhale versus the exhale. So on this riff, it starts on some draw notes, and I'll breathe out and relax. Let you hear it one more time. I have a C harmonica, but you'll see that in the title of the video or somewhere obvious, hopefully. And you can see that at the last note of, let's call this riff the last note, 4 draw, it starts right back over. You'll always be directed to a hole that is right next to where you need to start the riff again. So it starts on 5 draw, ends on 4 draw. You're back in it. So you just keep it going like a loop. And it's been amazing. The biggest takeaway for doing this lesson, any other lesson that I've created, is that some of them kind of get stuck in your head, the ideas, and you just wake up and you're hearing the things you've been working on. this is definitely one of those things for me where I'll go around the house and just play these riffs. They're stuck in my head now, and I have all these fun ones that involve the low end and the bends, so that you can really.
Awfully
Making this
noisy.
up right now, but I think I'm able to finally just make them up like right on the spot because I've been working on them and actually working on this lesson. So if you like this kind of stuff, again, I can't emphasize how much it's going to help you when you learn just that part of that riff I played. It's a great standalone lick. It's a transition area as you're moving out, downward. And then you just have to get into it to see for yourself the rest of the benefits. But I hope you guys, by the way, while I didn't actually teach you the riff today, I think if you just practice this by ear, by rewinding this video, you'll actually find the notes you need. It's in cross harp, so playing in the key of G. One more time. So now you got a whole other musical idea that you learn by doing these loops. So and that happens to be very actually
Noise about Stella?
there it is in front of this looping idea. Alright, I hope that helps some of y'all. Wonderful. See you soon.
Take a beat.
Riff number 4. Alright, so
Hi.
I want to start this little video here
Hi.
by saying that when you
Good.
learn ideas from other players, you're
Hello.
listening to your old tapes of Sonny Boy or Virginia Wells,
Yeah.
Little Walter,
Me
whoever
too.
it might
I'm
be.
everybody too.
You can't stop the CD and ask these guys, hey, what was that riff we just played? All you can do, at least all I used to do, is sit there and just hit the rewind button over and over and over until you finally get it. So, that being said, in today's lesson, I'm just going to play. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing, but I will actually go back and play parts of what I'm doing very slowly. Now I got to figure out.
Hi, Brittany.
I do have a G harmonica, so I'll start by saying that.
Speaking of wolf wolf, I might be going to the shelter real soon to get my own dog. I'm gonna get my own dog soon when the kids are going back to school. I'm gonna get a dog for the shelter. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I was almost to skip the needle a couple days ago when he bit somebody and he had to be rehoused. And he couldn't be rehoused then. It's impossible to rehouse him.
Maybe 3 different parts. Like, your second part.
I'm tired.
And then the last part. Think about the way that it plays.
Perfect. I love it.
By the way, this is definitely a cross harmonica riff, so you're playing in the key of F. You enjoyed riff number 4.
Yeah, sushi. Sushi.
G harmonic.
Yep. It's the only thing I had for lunch in the fridge. Yeah, it's the only thing I had. Besides the Cornish sandwich, I can't make it until tomorrow. I'm gonna have steak for dinner too. Hi, Lavelle.
So we slowed down even more than what I did just a moment ago.
Lavelle, what's the smell? Oh my God, it is Lavelle. Just kidding, Lavelle. I was being a jokester. I'm in a very good mood because I'm home right now. I was at my sister's for 4 days and I finally made it home.
So what I'll do is I'll just play this idea a couple more times, and then how about in the comments section, if you know what the riff is, type it out. Let us see what you think, and the first person who types out the correct idea, the correct riff, I'll just make a comment that says, yep, or if they get really close, I'm just going to say, yep, that's it, and then we'll know what the correct riff is. The idea of this is riff by ear, so this is the way this instrument is passed down. Teachings of it's an oral tradition, so
Actually, good. Wow.
just try your hardest, you know. Maybe you're not used to starting on a note past 6 draw. There's a
Wow. Who got that? Oh, nice. I like it. I like it a lot.
If you're going to be in
Oh,
Denver,
look what I found at the 5 and below.
doing a lot of these
A Bob Ross
teaching
energy
right
drink.
here ideas at a workshop. I'll put a link to the workshop for the
Yeah, you like them?
Mile High workshop.
They're brand new.
January 14th with my good
Yeah,
friend,
kinda.
co-instructor.
I just got these like the other day.
Once you learn this riff by ear,
Got these the other day. I'm happy with
if
them.
you're a friend of
They're
mine,
hard to adjust
you
because
just
they're
saw
brand
me
new.
post a video on this topic. Learn how to change up your ideas and just embellish and add different techniques, substituting these single notes occasionally. Maybe throw some tongue fillers, octaves.
Oh, you should tell us.
Vibratos or tremolos, grandmas, etc.
What does it
Start to
want?
vary that riff and give it some texture and depth. So once you've learned an idea, learn how to shape it and change it into something that feels right to you. You can even experiment with the phrasing itself, the timing of this riff. You know, maybe you didn't like what I did and you want to go. Same notes, but different timing. Just experiment with changing it. All right, good luck to you. I'll see you next time for riff number 4.
Super Pets. Do you got these kind of powers? See it only in theaters Friday.
All right, welcome to riff number 2. This is learning a blues riff by ear. Be in cross harmonica, second position, C harmonica. And I'm going to play this riff a couple times through, give you a chance to actually repeat it and find it on your own, and then you're going to break it. Might have noticed I'm playing it a couple different ways at the end of the riff. You know, a random, maybe not the best analogy, but a random analogy that popped into my head while I was playing it is like Mr. Potato Head. You know, you can always just change his hat, or his mouth, or his eyes, or whatever it might be. The riff is the same way. The ideas you come up with, it's important to sort of chop them, play with them. Maybe just change the ending, maybe change the beginning, the middle, leave out a note, add a note, etc. So the riff starts on a double stop, that dirty note on 3/4 draw together.
Very first drawing I ever did of a new book.
Notice the face I'm making with the upper lip. Tends to make that little bit of a curled look.
Well, she got me the book at Rock.
And you want to throw in, to give this the ultimate sort of polished bluesy sound, you want to get a little bit of a bend note on that 3. The bend is not very deep. It goes no further than a half step. Okay? Then it goes to 4 blow. 4 bend and 4 blow again.
Don't mind the noises in the background. I'm recording a harmonica class so I can do it later. I'm learning harmonica on my brand new harmonica.
Sometimes
I'm trying to get all the chicks. Look at my girlfriend. I'm not going to get no more chicks.
Simple little riff. It's a good repeating riff.
I love it.
You can just stay on that one and leave out the last 2 notes, the 3 draw, half step bend, and the 2 draw, and just get where you end up curled up. And then repeat that. Slide with 2 draw to get out of it. So there it is. I think I failed to mention, in case I failed to mention this, it's a C harmonica. I can always add it. I suppose. C harmonica played in the key of G. Thanks for joining me for Blues Riff by Ear, number 2. I'll see you for the third edition here coming up soon.
I tried.
All right, I'm going to teach you guys a little something. So, if you're a harmonica player that's learning blues harmonica and A harmonica,
I think
I'm going to make this really simple.
Carlos
Just your training response. But then, I'll give you a chance to mess with it. Then I'm going to break it down and just tell you what I'm doing. Instead of teaching you a whole 12-bar thing.
I did too. Did Nancy one?
Here's the idea. Common blues riff, but it's got a lot of stuff going on that gives it the sound that it has. So listen to the riff and then repeat it after me again on the A harmonica. I'm going.
Well, faithful. I remember that.
Just second position. Try to get it to be consistent each time you play it. So as you're playing the riff, ask yourself, am I playing it the same way each time, or am I kind of switching this one little part up? You can dissect it from the angle of what is the actual technique he's using to get that sound, or you could really break it down into a single note version. To try to just learn where it is, where the riff resides, and then decode it. So you could just learn. You gotta think about it. That's the riff without the.
It's like the 13.
So here it is. If you by now you've probably had a chance to try to get it a couple times. And by the way, I would rate this as a intermediate riff. So if you consider yourself an intermediate and it's challenging, it doesn't mean you're not an intermediate. Maybe it just means you have 1 or 2 little pieces to get down to where you can consistently do these types of riffs. So, I forgot that part. I did leave something out when I just played that single version. But here's the riff slowly, and I'm going to decode each part. That's the draw, half step, and the 4 draw. I switch to tongue locking when I get to 4 drawn up, usually. 6 blow. 5 draw, tongue flutter.
4 draw.
And then 5 draw. 6 blow. 5 drop, 4 drop. So
They're everywhere in Florida.
and then the last part is
They're even on the highway, too.
up towards the draw note,
Up there, down too.
and then bending it back down and sliding to 2 drop.
They have them in trucks too. They plant them and they put bases around them, and then they grow and root into the ground, and then it becomes tall palm trees.
I'm throwing it out there today. This is the type of thing I want to do,
Yeah, because some would be planted before.
but in much more depth to give you the insights to the techniques. And the upcoming workshop with PT Gazelle. So if you like this kind of stuff and you didn't know about that, that's happening January 14th in Denver, Colorado at Siggy's. I'll put a link to the workshop so you
I
can
call
read about
my
it, sign up if you
volcano
decide to do that.
Mount
Thanks for
Elijah.
joining me. Maybe I'll do another one of these here in the next day or two. Stay tuned. Improvisation in general is the topic of this series, and there's a million ways you could, we all could analyze this broad topic. Today, I want to take an angle that I think is really important and overlooked, and I think it deserves the attention and by most folks, based on what I hear and see out there, they need this. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to use the C harmonica today, and what we'll do is explore slow blues in the second position and talk about approaches and concepts to how I approach it. Why is it so different to play a slow blues? Let's just talk about it for a second. The main difference is that we've been doing a lot of things where we can establish a groove, and most of the time that's pretty much what you're doing. Is when you get inside of the groove, you can feed off of the groove, this rhythm style playing. What happens in slow blues? Well, there's not as much rhythm playing at all. It's really just mostly melodic. So you have opportunity to really play around with syncopation, which is the timing of the notes. And if you play a riff, you can play it many different ways based on how it's syncopated.
It does.
And let's just talk about note relationships as well when we go through this. I'm going to play to it naturally, just kind of lay down a solo, and I'll pause, sometimes quickly, and sometimes I'll let it go a little longer to demonstrate some of these concepts. No choices is a big one. Never feeling like you're going to be in a rut with the solo, landing somewhere that may be foreign to you, and actually understanding how to get out of that area safely, musically. Not just saying
That's awesome.
Feeling like no matter where you are, you have something to say. So because this is a totally different angle to improvisation and talking about it, I think it's important to have a demo, and I'll be using a track from an acoustic series jam tracks I used to sell on the website. I don't have it up there anymore. I'm thinking of bringing it back. I don't know why I took that down. If you want it,
I love the cycle.
volume 1 and 2. And basically each volume is 10 tracks, all acoustic, just guitar, blues, different styles of blues. So this one's called an advanced blues. It's basically a slow blues with some nice changes in it, chord changes outside of just 1, 4, 5. Like here with the 2, 5 turnaround and some nice, slightly jazzier approach to the blues. But it's really straight ahead. So I'm going to cue up this track. And I want you to think, when you work with the slow blues, whether it's this track or any slow blues, again, think about the fact that, let's just talk about it for a second. Long notes are your friend. Long notes are your friend. There's got to be an occasion when you're playing somewhere where you're holding something, which becomes like the glue that holds together this whole solo we're going to be doing, because a long note ties it all together and binds, creates tension. It's the only way in a slow blues to escape just like noodling or doing quick staccato riffs.
I am
Melodically, which can fall into the noodling category. I'm going to hold words over once in a while, so I'll be experimenting with that. And I will show you how we can cut.
No monsters
Just take
allowed
a
in the
technique
class.
and cut it. Get our breath. This is
Monster.
naturally. Breath, fall, rest, then come back. Catch your breath, and that's our signal to come back in. Let me show you what I mean. Let's start angle to what I'm going to play, but I want to demonstrate the concept I just described. Just watch how I'm taking a breath and how relaxed it is, and where it lands me musically, how much time it took, and all that, the spacing, the rests. It'll create some nice rest in your music. So listen to this. He's going to announce it. This is fun.
Now.
C harmonica, everybody. Let the breath out. So this is a strategy that both in practice, this is rare, I think, both in practice and in actual playtime will serve you well. And I say that because there's a lot of things you do in practice that just wouldn't want to carry over. It's just reserved for practice, like an exercise, let's say, to get you better at something that will eventually come out naturally. In this case, notice I'm going, let's say I end on a draw note, and I need to breathe out. So I take the harp away.
Still now.
Let my breath just fall as naturally as it is, as if I'm just watching TV or something.
I'm just being goofy.
When you need to take your breath in again, start on a draw note.
What part of
What
your body?
happens?
Arm, leg, or neck?
Actually quite fascinating.
Orange, yellow. Make up your own mind. Is it orange? No, yellow.
4 beats go by. So you can just, instead of trying to count it in the moment, record yourself doing this at this particular approach. Something as simple as that, what is it going to do for you? We already said it gives you some natural space in your music, but it allows you to catch your breath, which allows you to relax. So you're not just randomly going around trying to create riffs. You know that you have this opportunity to catch your breath, and it's going to create some beautiful rests that wouldn't have been there had you not just been consciously saying, I'm going to let my breath rest every time. If I end on a blow note, you got to breathe in. So whatever I'm doing to counter, let me make it really clear. If I end on a draw note, I want to let my breath out. Let it fall all the way and rest. And then
He did really good for his
again,
age.
after totally rested, start on a draw note. That's where you'll be next, is on your inhale note. And vice versa. If you went on a blow note, rest. Breathe in, because you'll need to take your breath in. Start again on a blow note, because you will be able to breathe out. So how do you switch this up sometimes? Because you don't want to always start where it lands you. Well, once you've caught your breath, it's a general rule. So once you've caught your breath, you're ready to breathe in and out quickly again and go either direction. You could take that approach too, like this. I'll show you. We can end on a draw note and start again on a draw note like this. Breathing out to catch my breath. Breathe in, and I could start on a blow because I can catch my breath again. So the lesson is that you don't, just because you end on a blow doesn't mean you have to catch your breath in and start on a blow again. You can go either direction. Just the point is naturally catch your breath.
Oh, Brittany's favorite.
Let that be a guide.
I swear that's really Brittany.
Later, you can consciously adjust this and say, I'm going to rest, but I'm going to rest shorter than that. You can catch your breath quicker. So sometimes you can fully catch it, but not come in, still waiting on a beat or so. See what I'm getting at? Just constantly switching up your timing and your phrasing and adjusting naturally. Here's an example of that.
We really need this.
I waited just an extra beat or two. It's arbitrary. It is very random how much time and space, but there needs to be some sort of change up in that flow, or you're going to lose yourself and you're going to lose your audience. So relax. Let the space happen organically. Step up. Okay. Let's talk about getting outside of the scale. This is also, I feel like, a topic that needs more discussion and more attention. Getting outside of the
Brittany
scale.
and I saw it together. We loved it. I loved it. I saw it for the second time in my whole life. I only saw it twice in my whole life. Once with Brittany and once with Grandma a long time ago. It was. Rose is a really nice actress. I can't believe she's
what about all the other note choices?
and portraying the whole movie. That's so
There's
cool.
barely any notes that are scary notes to go to. Maybe the triple bend. Stepping
Yeah,
out
that was cool though.
Sound notes, pretty much any way you want, 12 blues. But what about all the other note choices? Like,
And I
what
wonder
I
how
would
much.
recommend,
This is
the
you know that tattoo Jack comes back, he survives an iceberg?
Stepping outside of the scale by going, what happens if I land on two?
Yeah, they call it
This is going to
tattoo Jack's back.
and kind of segue really into the discussion of
It's coming, I don't know when it's coming out, but Brittany knows.
discovering, never getting stuck, discovering what are the choices you can say. In a slow blues, it's extremely interesting what happens because there's more melodicism happening in a slow blues. And people are nervous to step out and hit notes that they don't understand directly from the scale or from the riff that they've learned or heard another player play. I have no fear because I've figured out what are all my choices around there. So here's one idea. Root note is a natural choice. When you go to a note that's unfamiliar to me, it sounds bad to you in that moment. Jump to a root note, the tonic notes in the scale are 2 draw and 6 blow, giving us the G and C hard.
It's calling
So just to demo that very briefly, just go.
Who's coloring so fast?
I'm gonna land on 2 blow.
He's coloring very fast.
So you notice I landed on that 2 blow, but I just jumped to the 6 blow. I slid glissando right on up to the 6 blow. As a long note transition, that's one idea. Could have been the 2 draw or the 9 blow, which are the G's right there. Worked no problem. What if we go to the root note 2 draw, but not for the sake of just hanging on it, but making a riff out of it, outside of just the movement to it? What happens in that kind of scenario?
The sushi was great. Look at you, Daddy.
The track is going on. Sorry. So what did I do? I landed on that 2 blow. Let's say you're the person that goes 4 to right now. Also, I hit 2 draw. And then I took the 3 draw. And I stretched right around the full step bend. You could just hit the half. But I think that full step going, hitting the full step bend on the 3 and lifting it towards that blue note almost for the draw note. And then come back down to the full step and go 2 draw.
Holy crap.
And this little riff is gorgeous. It can be a standalone riff just right there, you know. And start learning all the different things you can say. We're going to explore some of them.
I keep a rose. I don't want to keep on it.
Great riff. Look what I just did. I hit 2 blow, 2 draw, and then experimented. 4 draw, then I went to 5 blow, then I went to 6 blow. So the first 2 notes did 2 blow, 2 draw, and I'm learning it now. What are the other note choices I could have went to? And then I went to 1 draw. So I'm not limited. I don't see any limitations placed upon me. I can almost go anywhere. 2 blow to 2 double band. And just to give you the extreme example, there's some beautiful runs beginning on 2 blow that are very melodic runs. Ending on 2 blow as well. Five blow. 5 blow is the same note as 2 blow. So that begs the question, what are you doing with 2 blow? Same thing, I'm experimenting. Hitting a 5 blow, what are all the options? What are the emotional relationships that these notes have, leaving the 5 blow? Or 5 blow, 6 blow, or 7 draw. What does it emotionally that say to you? What does it mean? And the only way to do that is to play it against a piece of music, right? And try the combinations and see what it does musically. And you'll find that depending on where you are in the progression, you might want to go to any one of those choices after the fight. Because they have something different they're all saying emotionally, these relationships. And again, we're talking about this, notice, with no theory. Same way I really got into playing, digging deep into the ear training and then understanding the relationships all these notes have. So I took that run on the 2 low, went nice melodic run up, back down and landed on the 2. Keep in mind, it's a tension note, cross heart, meaning it wants to resolve something. It often doesn't want to just stand alone, so I use it as a passing note, like in that run. Like it's a stepping stone. If I do hang on it, it wants to resolve.
I guess the lower deck is where the arrow is, where the bathroom is.
Or even not necessarily the roots. You can resolve tension outside of the root, but just keep in mind the roots are in nice place. But you don't have to just stay on it. You can go to the 1 draw. So I think what I wanted to say about getting out of areas that you are unfamiliar with, it comes down to just continually exploring note choices first right next to the hole. So 2 blow, 2 draw, 2 blow, 2 draw, 1 draw, 2 blow, 1 draw, 2 blow, 3 draw, a little bit of bend.
You know what the windows are? Those are all the rooms in the Titanic. There's like over 100,000 rooms, maybe. You know they had more people on the Titanic than the Titanic could hold? That's how most of them died? Yeah, it was overcapacitated, which means that it was like over the maximum capacity.
The angle, rather, when it comes to playing a
Yeah,
slow blues.
that was sad. They should have timed it better.
Creating balance within your solo. This goes for any solo, but especially in a slow blues, because it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. Anything you do in a slow blues that it feels wrong to you or you hit a bad note, it's like extra sour because you're wide open. You know, there's not a lot of things to cover up your mistakes here. It's just a nice.
Well, at least they tried.
A lot of room and space in this blues. So let's see what happens when we try to balance it. What I mean by that, and then I'll try to demo it for you. Think of ideas that balance each other. A quick fast run and a long note. There's one example. That that means that you could follow a quick run by a long note, and it's going to be balanced. It's going to sound really good. Here's another example. Versus these sort of meandering verses. So I could be in slow blues and counter those two ideas. So I said, more of a fast.
What you learn, buddy?
It's called a fast moving
Learn the harmonica?
versus a long note. Then I said
Boy,
staccato
keep learning. It's good for you.
versus meandering riffs.
Keep learning.
Let's
It's good for you,
start with
bud.
that kind of idea right there. And I drop my
Woo!
notes. So let's start with that. Let's just take those two ideas. First one's going to be fast riff, and we're going to complement it with long note. And I'll do it a couple times through so that we can get a sense for how nice that is within the solo. And when we start to do all these little things, there's other ways to balance your solo we can talk about. It's the big picture that starts to change quickly because you'll find that you're going to keep yourself, you're going to have more attention to your own playing. It's not just keeping the audience, it's like you've got to be loving what you do every second so that it translates to what people are hearing and experiencing. Here we go. Fast versus long note. Notice on the first riff, it was the last note in the riff. I just held it. That counts too. Take the same riff and just end it by not letting go of that note. Balance the riff itself. Or you could take that second time I did it, and it was two different ideas. It was the da-da-da-da-da-da, this quick little riff, tiny little bit of a rest. It's arbitrary. It doesn't matter how much time. Do what you feel in that moment and hang on the sixth blow afterwards. That's just one example. Root notes are sweet spots for hanging. Doesn't have to be that root note. Let's do one or two more. Here's the turnaround. So I use the four draw.
Yeah. Go on, Tiger.
Now we're not worried about long versus fast versus like a long note. We're just talking about the nature.
Is anybody keeping up on Purdue?
So how can we do that? Staccato. Meander. Staccato. Not.
It's PT forever.
Staccato.
Basically, Tracer Sesame and Tina Sesame. It's so cool.
Get the idea? How do you do a staccato?
Just like Brittany has initials are BK, just like Burger King.
You're saying da da or ta ta.
Or British Columbia, or is that BC? I can never tell.
That's what's going to give you a cut note, a staccato note sound. So some people only do one or the other and forget this idea altogether.
And so perfect. I can double set of pencil.
And I'm not saying that these ideas have to be one after the other. You can play a series of staccato riffs and then a series of melodic keys to switch it up. So fast, long note versus long note, staccato versus meander. Let's think tonally. How can you balance something? Let's just talk dynamics for a second. In a nice slow blues, there are times, especially all this room that you can take